I feel like these tech YouTubers, they take themselves too seriously. You know what we should do? What do you reckon, Nick? Do you reckon we should respond to some comments from yesterday's NR200 video? That's a good idea, right? It is a good idea. You're so smart. Look at you go. Oh, you clever, clever guy. What could possibly go wrong?
Hey Gear Seekers, I'm Nick. I'm doing something a little bit different today. We put out our NR200 video last night and I decided that I would answer some of the questions that we got about the case and answer some of the legitimate questions and some of the really, really dumb questions and comments. And I wouldn't usually do something like this, but it's a little bit of fun. So let's put a smile on our dial and answer some of those ridiculous questions. Now, to be honest, I'm just kidding. There's no real stupid questions. There are silly questions, but the point of us making videos about these products and these builds and whatever is so you watch the video all the way through. So I suggest you watch this video all the way through before asking any silly questions, because I'm probably gonna answer them in this video. And I'm only gonna answer questions really related to this build in particular and not any other orientations that we're gonna be doing later down the line, which leads me into the first thing I wanted to talk about, the orientations and the different versions of this case. First off, like I mentioned in the start of the last video, there's 4 versions of this case. There's the NR200 and the NR200P, so that's 2, and then there's a white and black version, which makes 4 different variations of the case. Now the P comes with the tempered glass panel and this panel. People got really confused about that, but it comes with both of these panels, and the NR200 does not come with the TG panel. Why did I decide to go with glass with this build? For a very simple reason that I mentioned in the video if you watched it all the way through, and a lot of you did, was because I wanted to see what the thermal performance would be like with the GPU sitting up against the glass, because in some orientations and some builds, it actually doesn't affect it too much. It did in this case, but I need to know this so I can give you the correct information so you don't make mistakes. That's the whole point of these videos, is for me to find out for you so you don't go out and waste your money on something that you have in mind. So yeah, take that into account. And doing a GPU like this, although it can be done, it's worst case scenario. And as well, I saw a comment, someone saying something like, oh, all the new builders are gonna kill their components if they mount their GPUs like this. No, you won't kill anything. Your thermal tolerances on GPUs are very, very high, and you will not break anything. You will probably just thermal throttle at best, and your whole system will thermal throttle, but you're not gonna damage anything. Come on guys, get real. That whole mentality of doom and gloom in the tech community is really annoying. Please stop this. Come on guys, you should know better than this. Next up, I wanted to talk about people were saying, why didn't you mount the radiator at the top? Here's why. You can't mount it at the top. It uses this rubber grommet system, and even if you could mount it in the top, it would hit every single component underneath it. It's not designed to be mounted at the top, which leads me into the next thing. Oh, you're an idiot, you mounted the radiator at the bottom. No, guys, come on now. This is one of the orientations, and it was designed like this from factory. If you are doing a vertical GPU, the only way to mount a radiator is on the bottom of the case. If you were to do a horizontal GPU in the regular orientation, you would mount it on the side panel and you would use the mesh side as well, right? Okay, we get that out of the way. We good? We good, okay, let's move on. Oh, and while I'm on that topic of using talking about the top of the case, we actually had a few questions about whether or not you could use other fans with this toolless mounting system, which I'm gonna show you right now. All right, we're gonna so the toolless mounting system, right, it basically uses like an old school fan grill. You can literally get any other fan. Here's a Lian Li Bora Digital, right? Look what I'm about to do, right? Put that through the holes, right? This is a Lian Li fan. Toollessly mounted a Lian Li fan. So the answer is You can use whatever 120mm fan you like. And in saying that as well, with the radiator, there is no physical way to mount a radiator to these holes at the top. Guys, you can't do a radiator at the top. As much as you'd love it, the thermal properties of it being at the bottom are actually better. It's really the same as if you had a mesh front case where you mount the radiator at the front and you push the air through. It's the exact same type of airflow, except it's in a chimney airflow from bottom to top. There is nothing wrong with this type of airflow. Come on, guys. Because you guys asked about size comparisons with this and other ITX cases and SFF cases, I did do a little bit of a comparison with the other cases that we've got on hand. Now, I don't have a massive collection like everybody else, but I did as best as I could. Now, I didn't compare it to the NZXT H1, basically because it's a completely different orientation, and that's my daily driver, and I don't really feel like unplugging it and getting it all out. So yeah, it's in a very weird position, but yeah, obviously it's smaller than this because it's like a 13 litre or a 16 litre case, one of the two, but it is smaller internally than this, and it's already got the components inside like the power supply and the cooler, so it's not a fair comparison. Anyway, let's have a look at those size comparisons.
Okay, here's a comparison between the Cougar QBX and the NR200. I'm using a regular 120mm fan for scale. It's a Bora Digital because I know someone's going to ask what fan that is, but as you can see, they're very, very similar in size, and when we put them side by side like this as well with the fan for scale, you can also see that, to be honest, they're almost identically sized. QBX is also probably the most requested comparison that we've seen so far in the comments, so yeah, I had to add this and include this because I do have two QBXs. As I mentioned, we don't have lots of small form factor cases and ITX cases, so we have to use basically what we've got. So next up, we're using the Fractal Era ITX. You can see that the Era is a little bit taller than the NR200. Yeah, the NR200 would be my pick out of the two. I mean, based on thermals and stuff we know about these cases. The Era is a little bit more narrow as well, as you can see in this footage here, and it is a bit smaller in overall size and capacity. Next up, we've got the Metallic Gear Neo Mini V2. This is actually my personal gaming PC. I decided to disconnect it all so we could do a little bit of a side-by-side comparison. And as you can see, the Neo Mini V2 is considerably bigger, and you can actually fit more in the NR200. It's a very interesting configuration here. And again, side by side, you can see that the Neo Mini is far, far bigger and not as good in my opinion. Next up, we've got the InWin A1. I had to dig this case out of storage. I haven't seen it in quite a while. You can see that the A1 is considerably wider. It is shorter. Lengthwise, the A1 is a little bit smaller, but overall, again, the NR200 is a better case. So yeah, I wish I had more small form factor cases to compare these two, but the reality is we don't have that many. So I'm sorry, but yeah, that's the best I can do for now.
All right, next up, we got a question about using one of the AORUS GPUs, and this is like a bigger than usual GPU. It's close to a 3-slot size GPU, and whether or not you could fit it in a vertical orientation, well, let's find out right now. I haven't tried this yet, but we're gonna find out together. We're gonna see right now if it in fact does fit. Again, if you're using a GPU in a vertical orientation, I would highly, highly recommend, like I said in the original build video, that you would actually use the mesh side panel. Do not use the glass. I only did it for testing because people will ask. So regardless of any way that we do a video, whatever we do is wrong, and that's basically how YouTube is. And you know, we've been doing this long enough to know that people are going to complain about things, so we actually do things on purpose to make people complain. It's a little bit of insight for you guys there. We know that it's going to get you to comment. There's a bit of strategy with it, but yes, guys, we know. Okay, relax. I've been building PCs for a very, very long time. I'm not new to this, and if you're new to the channel, you may think I'm a noob, but I've been doing this for a very, very long time. Anyway, let's find out. Measurements are one thing, but actually doing it and getting it to fit is a whole nother kettle of fish. So let's get this in. All right, very easy to mount vertically in this case, actually. So we'll find out now. Obviously, I I'm gonna say this again, and 1,000 million %, do not use the glass for vertical GPUs. Do not do it. I did it for YouTube and science purposes in the original build video. So already you can see that it fits in perfectly. The length of the AORUS XTREEM card, now this is a 2080 Ti, so this is like the big one, fits no problem. Glass panel will go back on, but we're not going to be doing that because that's not the recommended orientation. We'll just drop this panel back on. There you go. You can do it if you really want, right? It's going to fit, no problem. Even plugging in the power and everything, I'll do that because someone will complain about me, oh, you didn't even plug the power in on the GPU. Well, I'm going to do it right now just to make you happy, right? Oh no, it doesn't fit. I'm kidding. Fits no problem. Okay, that's all plugged in. Did I even plug the riser in? No. Well, I better do that because someone will complain about that. Okay, that's in. Riser cable's in. It fits no problem. So to answer the question that we got about the AORUS 2070 Super, yes, the 2080 Ti fits, so the 2070 is gonna fit, well, the 2070 Super is gonna fit no problem. Okay, now there were some comments about people saying, oh, if it was a mesh fronted case, I would have bought that in a heartbeat. It actually makes no difference for the thermal properties of this case in a chimney design, or if you're actually mounting it with a regular oriented GPU, no problem, right? Okay. Now, the next question that we kept getting repeatedly was, why doesn't this case have USB Type-C? Pretty simple answer, price. This is a budget case. And yes, this case is $60 US. If you get the 200, the NR200P with the glass panel is obviously going to be more expensive, but the NR200 is $60 US. So I did see some people saying, oh, it's not that much. Well, that's how much it is. Amazon's pricing isn't accurate. Go shop around. Its recommended retail price is $60 US. I saw a comment about someone saying that the panels aren't secured to the case. They might fall off because, you know, these clips aren't really that good. The reality is, I somewhat agree with that, but the top panel can actually be fastened with a screw. There are screw holes to actually fasten it to the case, so you don't really need to worry about that. Another repeated question was, oh, you didn't even show thermals with air cooling or a different orientation. Yes, that's the point. That's the whole point of this video. Well, the original video was to show it in this orientation because this is a very popular orientation and people are gonna wanna know, so I did it. Because the other videos I've seen, people didn't really talk about it. They went with best case scenario, but there are people who aren't going to be using high-end parts like this, where this kind of stuff just does not matter, okay? Please, again, I want to really stamp out this gatekeepery attitude in the tech scene. It doesn't help anyone, and to be honest, when you comment stuff like this, you're actually being pretty dishonest with the other people who are reading through the comments. Not everyone is going to be building high-end configurations like this, and we know that, which is why we do it with the high-end parts to show you worst case scenario. And we actually did this with the Fractal Design Era ITX as well. People ask why we use a Radeon 7 for that build. That is like the hottest GPU on earth. It'll probably melt like solid steel beams. But yes, that is why we do the things that we do, because we want to give you guys authentic information based on a worst case scenario, because not everyone's going to be building the perfect way. These aren't build guides. These aren't recommended ways to build PCs. They're showing you things that people are going to be doing and they want to know how it performs in those situations. And like I mentioned in the original build video, and like I said, watch this all the way through, we talked about doing other builds at this case in the other orientations, including air cooling and a custom loop build too. So we're not quite done yet. We do have quite a few other ideas at this case as well. Another question I noticed was, why did you guys use an 850 watt SFX power supply? Well, ladies and gents, this got sent to us and I wanted to use it. No one's used it before, and I thought it would be nice to show you guys a new option for SFX power supplies. So I used it. Yes, I'm aware 850 watts for a system like this is probably overkill, but that's not the point. I wanted to use it, so I'm gonna use it. Don't tell me how to live. Okay, we're going to finish this video out here. Don't take this video the wrong way, guys. I'm just having a bit of a joke and answering some of the questions that we repeatedly get on these build videos. I'll be very honest with you, it can be pretty tiresome when we answer questions in the video, and all it takes is just to watch the video all the way through. And we've started doing chapters on all of our build videos where the titles of each chapter are questions that you're going to ask, right? Because that's the way that we think about making these videos. Now, we don't want you to feel stupid for asking questions, but please just like read through the comments first, because a lot of the time people actually answer questions for you as well, and I don't have to go and answer them. And be nice in the comments, guys. I've been doing this a very long time, and for me to get offensive comments about my race, color of skin, my accent, and me not knowing stuff when I'm doing these builds, it's a little bit offensive. Imagine walking into someone else's workplace or something they've been doing that they're literally an expert in and telling them that they don't know what they're doing. It's a bit offensive, guys. Come on now. Be nice to people. And the reason why we make these videos is because we can, and people like Cooler Master and all these other case vendors and all of this hardware, this comes from me knowing what I'm talking about. If I had no idea what I was talking about, Gear Seekers wouldn't exist and we wouldn't get these products for review. And that's simple as that. Anyways, guys, if you like the music you heard here, I make all the music. So yeah, again, I don't want you guys to feel offended or anything. I just wanted to really air how I feel, because I do get tired of it. It's very taxing. I am a human at the end of the day. I do have feelings. So when you're commenting on other YouTubers' videos, just take that into account. We're not robots. We're not here to serve making videos every day. We do this because we love to do it. And sometimes it gets a bit much. So just chill, be nice. And on the flip side of that, guys, all of the nice comments we get are what we look forward to every single day. So everyone who writes us lovely comments, thank you very, very much. To the rest of you who write horrible shit, fuck you. Thanks for watching.